Son of a bitch. So, I always start with so. I gotta stop that. Anyway, you'll probably recall about a month ago that I drove out to Oklahoma City. I am upgrading my inflatable boat pretty much to pick up a, to me, new Saturn 12-foot, 12.5-foot inflatable boat that I thought was going to be a bargain. You may recall that the very first time I blew it up, it split a seam. Really? Son of a bitch. And so it turned out to be a bit of a lemon, I guess. An $800 lemon. But anyway, I'm going to give it a shot to repair the seam today. If the seam repair is unsuccessful, then of course I'm gonna have to figure out something else. But you can see behind me all these trees from the storm about 2-3 weeks ago. It brought a bunch of trees down around here and a lot of branches and caused quite considerable damage. Tore the roofs off some houses, some storage places. But anyway, to get back. So today I'm gonna give that seam repair a shot. I've been in touch with several organizations, professionals, who suggested how I might get a fairly successful repair, but honestly, I don't hold out a lot of hope. But you know what they say, if you don't try, you'll never know. So I'm going to give it a shot. So I have my two helpers today, Dixie and Muffin. I guess they're not going to be doing much, just hanging around and probably getting in the way, but there they are. Anyway, first job is, excuse the mess. As you know, I am preparing to go to Mexico. So where I am right now is kind of in the middle of everything. So I can't do this in the garage because the garage is full of stuff that will be moving with me. So let's get started. So at this point, I don't know if this is the back or the front. There was Captain Dan and Billy Bob. Okay. So if I recall, yes, there it is. There it is. There's the damaged seam. So I gotta get this seam. Gotta get this seam as flat as possible, which of course is easier said than done. Okay, let's see if we can just fold this in a little at this end and give me a little more room that end to work. As I said, I don't hold out a lot of hope for this repair, because it is in such a horrible place to try to repair. Yeah. So let's see. So this is what we got. This is what we have, and I got to flatten this out a little better first. So this is the seam that basically fell apart. So here you see there's an 1.5 inch kind of overlap there. That is the first part I got to stick back together. All of this right the way down here, right the way up here, right the way up there. And of course this side is the side that's going to be stuck to that, and that side is going to be roughened, cleaned, glued, and then all of that stuck back together. Once that's done, I can put a little bit of air in it to hold its shape, and then this tape here above has again got to be roughened this side. This here, and this here is got to be roughened and cleaned. The adhesive put on there, let to dry. It is a contact adhesive, so once it goes on, it sticks, and we'll just see what we can do. There we go. I found a piece of 4x2 that I can work against. It's just to give me a hard surface to push against while I'm rolling these joints back together, these seams back together. So I'm going to put this here, my tripod right here, and see if I can continue. Okay, right down here is where my issue is. So let's get that on there. Get me a surface to work against. There. Yeah, that might work. Okay. Start cleaning. Disclaimer here, I'm using acetone, and I'm probably supposed to use some kind of mask or something while I'm using this. I don't know, honestly. I do have the fan on inside here, and oh, And I don't plan to be breathing this stuff in, so I don't know. If it kind of gets too much, I'll put a mask on or something. But so first job is to wipe all those surfaces with acetone to get the old adhesive off. And this is kind of tough because, of course, I'm trying to work inside the tube here. This is going to be quite an involved repair, I think. In fact, the pro guy from the website Gas Hopper, I don't know if you've seen him. He does this for a living, and he pointed me to one of his videos, which I watched about 3 or 4 times. Fingers crossed, this will work. But, okay, these are some like pointy sandy things for roughening up the joint. So I roughen up the joint best I can. I hope this works. I mean, I do have another boat. I did purchase a Briss 12.5 foot, which is actually a much heavier weight boat than this, and it's also has welded seams, whereas this one, from the time that this was made, they only made them with glued seams, which is probably the reason that this happened. Or probably part of the reason this happened, because the glued seams are just not the same as welded seams. Okay, so I'll give that another wipe. A little more acetone on there. Shut that off so that it doesn't all just evaporate away while I'm working on this. Make sure those surfaces are as clean as I can get them under the circumstances. I have roughened them up, and now let's try with some adhesive. So the adhesive, apparently you have to put 3 thin layers on each surface, letting them dry between each. Letting them dry for 10 minutes between each. So that is where we are right now. Get those seams as glued as possible. Okay, Alexa, put 10 minutes on the timer. 10 minutes, starting now. So I'll resume the video in 10 minutes.